What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the JUSTINHAWKSMITH channel. We are starting part 3 of the F250 build. So before we get into the video, we're down here at Advanced Auto Parts. While I was here, I actually just redone this truck right here. It was squatted whenever the customer bought it. His name's Randy, and it's a really clean truck. It's on a 6-inch rough country lift, and we just now put, I just now put new upper control arms on it on both sides, new lower ball joints, new inner tie rod ends and outer tie rod ends. Got the front end freshened up for him, and then got it aligned. The wheels are clean. Randy's got it cleaned up pretty good. But yeah, I just figured I'd show you that. I should have made a video on doing that. I'm sure y'all would have enjoyed that a lot. And it's actually for sale, so y'all can DM me on Instagram if you're interested. Yeah, I should have made a video on that. I don't know why I didn't. But anyway, let's go inside of here at Advance and pick up the parts for the F250. We're picking up the drag link and the tie rod end. We also got the fender liners for the rear that we're going to be installing the rock lights in. So we're going to put the rock lights in those fender liners and then install those into the fender wheels. So that's going to be really clean. Picked up the drag link. Actually ended up getting some free bulbs. Somebody walked outside and they was the wrong one, so they returned them, and apparently they can't sell them. And then we've got the tie rod end right here. So we picked up all the parts. Now we are headed back to the shop. Whenever you need extra parking, just park your fiance's car under your truck. That works, right? So what's on the agenda today for the truck? In this video, we're going to be removing the drag link, the factory drag link. We've already got it disconnected from the pitman arm. We just have to disconnect it right here by pulling this nut off of the tie rod bar. Then we'll pop that tie rod bar off and be able to pull this whole drag link and tie rod in, this whole piece right here, completely out and off of the truck. Then we have to go up here to the pitman arm and take the pitman arm off. After we get the pitman arm off and the drag link off, we'll be able to put on the drop down pitman arm, red Loctite, and then we can put on the track bar drop bracket. We're gonna also have to center the axle. Don't know if that'll be in this video or not, but once we hook up the rough country track bar back up to the drop down track bar bracket, you know, the track width's gonna be off. That bar is probably gonna be too long from where it dropped it down. Same thing with the drag link. We're gonna have to shorten that drag link and get it to where his steering wheel is straight again. Once we get the axle centered and the drag link, get the steering wheel back straight or close enough to where he can take it to get a proper alignment on an alignment rack, then we will start on the rear. So we're gonna pull the truck out, turn it around, pull it back in. Instead of backing it in, we're gonna pull it in, then we're gonna jack it up, take out the rear shocks, U-bolts, blocks, leaf springs. We're gonna take the leaf springs apart, so you'll be able to see that. I'm not sure if we're gonna do new bushings or if we're just gonna do the bolt and washer method of saving the bushings that are in it right now. I'm not sure what we plan on doing with that. I don't know if we can actually get new bushings for the Alumiduty. If we can get new bushings, then we'll put new bushings in it. If not, this truck only has like 50,000 miles on it. So the bushings are perfectly fine. They're just like new. And what we do is we put a big washer and we put a big washer on each side and a bolt through each bushing and a nut on it, and you tighten that down so then whenever it is baking in the oven, it all holds in there very well, and it doesn't really deform or distort the bushing at all. So we're probably going to do that to salvage the bushings. If we can't get new ones, we're going to call Ford and check, and then we're going to check for aftermarket like polyurethane bushings as well. So that's where we're at on the rear leaf springs. So I usually get a lot of questions about this as far as taking off the pitman arm, if I use a pitman arm puller or what. The best thing that I've found, guys, is actually cutting a slit in the pitman arm, and then you take an air chisel, or you can just tap on it very carefully. You don't want to damage the steering box. I've used an air chisel on my truck 7 different times on the same steering box, and the steering box was fine. And I had to cut every single one of them off. I can never get a F250 pitman arm off. Now, some of them, I've literally sprayed them down with PB blaster, whacked them with a hammer gently once, and it'll fall off. And I'm like, what? But yeah, so on this one, I usually don't even waste time. We're not gonna need the factory pitman arm ever again. If he was, then we can purchase a new one. They're super cheap. So we're gonna cut off the factory pitman arm, just cut a slice in it. You have to be super careful not to cut all the way through the pitman arm. You just wanna get right to the edge of it to where your air chisel will just barely crack the pitman arm, and that's gonna relieve some of the pressure, and you'll be able to knock that pitman arm off or pull it off or use a puller. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So as soon as I get the pitman arm off and the drag link off, I'll check back in with you. That stuff will probably be on time lapse. I may drop in and show you all a few things here and there during removal, like if I have any tips or tricks or anything for you guys, or if I want to show you anything. But other than that, I will see you all after we get the drag link and the pitman arm off of the truck. Alright guys, and that's how you do it right there. So as you can see, that pitman arm is cut almost all the way through. You don't want to go really high up here on the top because you'll start cutting into the gearbox. Now that we've got the old pitman arm off, we can go ahead and get the drop down pitman arm and go ahead and start assembly on that. So before we install the new pitman arm, right here should be center. So we've got one full turn, one almost another full turn. So we would go back to here, one full turn, that should technically be the center. And then if you go to the left, you should have the same thing. So you've got one full turn and then almost one full turn. So you want to put that pitman arm on right there. Should be one turn to the left. So now we'll go one more to the right, and that should be centered. And then with that steering wheel perfectly straight, you're gonna make your pitman arm just also go perfectly straight. So as you can see, there are some different flat spots right here in the splines on the steering box. And so we're just gonna put this on perfectly straight. Okay, so we've got our red Loctite. We have our drop down pitman arm, and then we have our new pitman arm nut. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on just dead straight towards the front of the vehicle. All of these splines and everything should line up. You'll feel it. Push it up on there, and then put you a little bit of red Loctite on the threads as well on the steering box. You do not want this thing backing off. Torque it at 450 foot-pounds of torque, and we'll be good to go. So we are laying, let me hit that wide angle right quick. We're laying underneath the truck. We just have this pointing straight. So now we're gonna put the nut on with a little bit of Loctite, red Loctite, and we're gonna torque this thing down. That's where we're starting. You just walk down here. I'm trying to get this right here on camera. We've got old swash bucket behind the lens today. Swashbucket, swashbuckler. That's my brother, guys. I will link his YouTube channel in the description box down below. He just now started. This is his Jeep. I don't know anything about Jeeps. What is it again? A
2019 JL.
2019 JL.
The Eco Diesel.
Yeah, it's got the 3.0 Cummins Eco Diesel in it. But he actually does take this thing on some pretty cool adventures. He just got back from Colorado, guys. So make sure to go check out his channel. He actually done some videoing out there in Colorado and some of the trails out there. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's popping up on the screen right now. Go ahead, hop over there, watch some of his videos, and click subscribe. Let's get back to the F250 content. Hey guys, so this is what I meant by the paint line. And now if that nut ever moves, it won't line up with the pitman arm, and it won't line up with that. So that's something that you can keep a check on. So now once we've got the pitman arm on, all we have left is the sway bar drop brackets and the drop down track bar bracket, which is gonna go back in the factory location using the factory hardware. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on now. So I got the drag link off. So your drag link has one tie rod end on it. It's the big long boy. So we've got a new one of these pieces, and then we also have a new drag link. So that ball joint and this ball joint will be brand new. And then we went ahead and got the track bar bracket on with the new pitman arm. And then you also have to drill one extra hole right here, and then that's going to have a 1/2 inch bolt in it, so you still reuse those 3, and then you have to drill a 1/2 inch hole right there to use that bolt. So now we've just got to go get the new drag link and the tie rod end and go ahead and install that stuff, and then the front will be ready to go back together. And keep in mind, I've done all of this with the wheels on, no jacks, no jack stands, no nothing. Oh, okay. I actually forgot that I put that there. I did jack that up just to have the wheel loose to where I could move it, but you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. I'm also gonna go ahead off camera and install these. It comes with new bolts that your sway bar brackets will mount to. So you just shove these brackets up onto the studs and reuse the factory hardware up top. And then whenever your sway bar mounts to the bottom, you will use the supplied grade 8 bolts for these 2 holes in the bottom. Got the Moog drag link right here, and I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of black spray paint because I think it's raw metal. It's either raw metal or it's sprayed gray, and I think it's just raw metal. So I don't want that to turn orange on Daniel, so I'm just gonna hit this with some black spray paint. We plan on building the Heim steering in the future, so there's no sense in powder coating this or anything. So I'm just gonna go ahead, figured I'd check back in with you. I'm gonna go ahead and paint this black just so then it doesn't rust and turn orange. It actually came out pretty glossy, so doesn't look bad at all. That'll make it look a lot better, so then a month from now Daniel's drag link doesn't turn orange. So while this drag link dries, I went ahead and threw on the sway bar drop brackets. You can see them on each side. Those look really, really slick. Then as you all already seen, the pitman arm and the track bar drop bracket, that's in there. So adds a little bit more blue up in the front, and then whenever that sway bar comes around through here and it's blue as well, that'll look really, really good. And then the differential cover and the steering stabilizer in the front, once that's blue, that's really gonna make that pop as well. So I'm gonna take this tie rod end and go ahead and drop it down through the knuckle, and then slide the tie rod bar up onto it. Go ahead and get all that tightened down. And then once this drag link dries, we should be able to just screw it on right here. So pretty much what I done was I held the wheel with my knee right here, and I pushed it this way. And I pulled this tie rod end up to probably about right here. And I lifted this up with my right arm and just shoved all that through. Put the nut on the bottom. We've got that Carter key through. So now we can just use our super strength and bend those over. Bird. So the problem that I'm running into is I tried to reuse this old piece right here, and I lubed it up really, really good. But I don't know if you can see right here, that's supposed to go straight through there, but it's kind of like pulled up right here. So I think from where this was adjusted so far out, it kind of warped the threads, like it warped this piece right here. So it's not wanting to thread any further than that right there. Like it just stops right there, and it should be free. So I ran down to Advance, went ahead and called Daniel, made sure everything was okay there. And I got us a new adjusting sleeve, just CarQuest adjusting sleeve. So that'll all be brand new. So the whole drag link will be completely brand new. Before the truck leaves, it will get a complete once over and check over every single bolt and make sure that everything's tight. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect the track bar, connect the new drag link, and then turn the truck around and go ahead and jack up the rear and get that started for tomorrow. So then tomorrow's video will be tearing apart the rear and taking everything to powder coat. The video after that will be picking everything up from powder coat and putting it back on. All right, guys, so we got the truck turned around. We got the track bar bracket, the drag link, the new drag link, and the new sway bar drop brackets on. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. So we got it all back. The front end is not aligned at all right now. I'll have to center the steering wheel and center the axle with the track bar. Once we get the rear done, I just want to go ahead and turn around, get that tore apart so we can get that stuff off to powder as quick as possible and save Daniel some money so then it gets done quicker. So yeah, we're going to be starting on the rear in the next video. We're going to be jacking it up and pretty much dropping the axle down, taking out the leaf springs, taking apart the leaf springs, taking the U-bolts. The blocks are already at powder coat. We're going to be getting rid of the stacked blocks, and then we'll just have one solid block. So that'll be a lot better. It's just a 5-inch block. Let's see here. What else is there? I think that's pretty much it. I can explain everything else tomorrow more in depth. Don't forget, click that subscribe button down below if you're not subscribed. It really, really helps out the channel a lot. Give me a thumbs up. Comment down below what you want to see next on the channel. And I will see you on the next video, guys. Always remember, everybody starts out as a nobody. Peace.